Hello, cinema lovers, and welcome to our second podcast dedicated to modern cinema. You can download the second edition of Cinecult Magazine following the link in the description box of this video. The Cinecult project is made possible with the support of National Culture Fund of Bulgaria. Today, our guest is Soti Velo, writer and director. Soti is also author in our magazines, the first and the second edition. Hello, Soti.
Hello, it's an honor to be part of this project, a project which aims to speak about movies and to reach the audience of horror movies, of cult movies, of vintage movies, of modern cinema, and as well old classic movies.
Okay. Let's speak about the topic of our second edition, the dystopian movies. Why do you like dystopian movies?
Well, dystopian movies are part of cinema for many, many years, and they have gone through many waves of cinema. And in the last years, starting from the mid-80s, I would say, until now, they are the biggest part of cinema, I would say. Like, if you go back and see all the movies that are made, in my opinion, maybe it's because I watch these movies more, but I would say that most of the movies that are made are dystopian movies, or have dystopian elements at least.
Is it because humanity nowadays has a lot of fears?
Humanity always had a lot of fears, but now I think we have more knowledge, and cinema has more knowledge and more capacity, like equipment, like better teams and better experience overall. So we can make dystopian movies even easier. It's more easy to make them now, and they are exciting, of course. And we have had a lot of topics, a lot of things. I'm sorry that happened during the last years, like COVID-19, one of them. Which inspired, movies to come, dystopian movies to come.
So it's about the fears.
It is about the fears, of course. It is about the fears. It is about predicament, and it is about predictions, what would happen. And it is easy to imagine the worst scenario. It is easier to imagine a bad scenario than to imagine a good scenario of the future. So I think that also contributes to why we have so many dystopian movies, and in many aspects, like not only the end of the world, but the society, how it works, politics, human relations as well. And yes, that is it.
In the first article for our second edition, that was written by you, you chose to speak about the movies Children of Men and Soylent Green. What do they have in common, these two movies? And how close is this ecological disaster that is depicted in both of the movies?
Well, you said part of the answer. You said that it's an ecological disaster. The main thing that they have in common, these two movies, is that it's all about resources, and that the humanity will be wiped out because of resources, and how we deal with this, which is an exciting topic to talk about, and also in real life. It is discussed a lot about resources, GMO, and so on, and food. And and these two movies focus on this scenario that the humanity might be wiped out because of lack of resources.
But who is making this lack of resources?
Of
the
course,
humanity itself?
Of course, humans, yes. Of course, overpopulation, of course, bad handling of the remaining resources, and bad planning. And most important, one topic that it is one of the reasons which is true about these two movies as well, arrogance. And arrogance, it's a main theme that dystopian movies concentrate on. The arrogance of man.
Yeah, arrogance of man against nature.
Yes.
We can say.
Nature always wins.
Well said. What do you love about dystopian animations such as Akira and WALL-E. You speak about them in your second article.
Yes, well, this is a big school in Japan, which started from the movie Akira, yes, and many movies and many series followed. Some of them, Attack on Titan, which is more recent, Neo Genesis Evangelion, and so on. But this is a big school. They are nice because they are easier to make in a way, and they can give you like how the producer, the creator thought it. He has the freedom to make it however he imagined it. While in cinema, this is a bit more hard. So animated movies, especially the animes and the comics, mangas, and so on, because there are a lot of comics as well. Yes. Speaking about this, not only animes, but also comics from Europe and so on. Mouse, it's a very good example of that. But it's the freedom that they have, and they present to you phantasmagorical, idea of a dystopian.
The visions are easier to be presented.
The vision is easier to represent, exactly. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also the cyberpunk.
And cyberpunk is the same. It influenced a lot of waves in cinema, and it's a vision that it's followed even in more modern adaptations of this kind of like Demolition Man. It's a very funny movie to watch, but it's about a dystopian world where criminals take over, and there is this totalitarian system. So it's based on cyberpunk, the whole vision and idea. So it's also cyberpunk. It's also a very good example. But
we spoke about the fears that as a factor in the developing of the dystopian genre in cinema. But let's speak about hope. It's also a big emotion that drives people to when they speak about the future. And very good example is the animation WALL-E.
Yeah, an animation.
It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite too, actually. I love Pixar movies, of course. Yeah. It's one of my favorite. There it's represented in a very nice way. This seed, this flower that comes out from a boot, from a shoe, and it's a tomorrow. It's a seed of tomorrow. It also metaphorical of what you say. It's the seed to build tomorrow. This is a metaphor, the metaphorical
for the hope.
Yeah, for the hope. Yes. So WALL-E. Yeah, it's if we are going to talk about WALL-E, it gives a lot, and it's not only the seed. If you watch the movie, and if you have watched it more than one times, they focus a lot on the relationship. I cannot call it love, it's a relationship between the two robots, WALL-E and Eva, and this gives you a kind of hope as well for the future, because what it tells you is if two robots can get to like each other, not fall in love, but to like each other and to try to survive, to live together, and feel this emotion, why humans can. So in the movie itself, it gives you they give an example of how things should be, and that you can wipe out, the world, you can wipe out humanity, everything, but emotions are there, and this is represented in a very nice way through the robots.
Very well said. Let's talk about the movie 12 Monkeys by Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
And you mentioned also COVID-19. Yeah. What happened to us? Did we live in dystopia like 2 years ago?
Almost.
Okay.
Almost. It was close to that. I think it was over-exaggerated, and people had all these scenarios, like what would happen with COVID-19, and what could have happened. It didn't happen, although, many people, we lost a lot of people, and a lot of things changed for a long time. But in 12 Monkeys, this idea it's very close, and it represents, the movie, what would happen if a virus comes and how we would have handled it. But unlike Wall-E, here in 12 Monkeys, there is no hope. Like, we cannot be saved. According to the movie 12 Monkeys, we cannot be saved. Like, the guy goes back in time, goes to the future, and realizes that whatever has to happen, happens. So, which is, again, a hypothesis of we cannot beat a virus, Although we beat COVID-19, but for 12 Monkeys, according to this movie, we cannot beat a virus, at least not very easy.
So we can say that humanity overlived one dystopia successfully.
Yes, overlived one dystopia. But okay, there are different kind of dystopias. Like if we're going to talk about viruses, you have the other movie Contagion as well, 12 Monkeys, as we said. Yes, but there are many kind of dystopians which we discuss through the movies now, and also in the Cinecult magazine in the second issue. So yeah, visit our viewers.
You'll find all the links.
Our viewers can check the articles where we discuss a little bit more there.
Also, they should check our first edition where we speak about the Matrix.
Yes.
Also
Matrix.
A dystopian movie.
Also a dystopian movie. Also, has elements from cyberpunk,
yes.
and yeah. But let's not talk about Matrix. Let our viewers check the first issue and the second issue, and they will find out.
Yes. Let's talk about Terminator. I know that you believe Terminator 2 is better than Terminator 1.
Of course it is.
Why?
Because, first of all, Terminator 2 is one of the best movies ever made. But to put it into context, as a dystopian of what we discuss now, as a dystopian, first of all, to answer your question, why? Because in Terminator 1, the machine was a machine. In Terminator 2, the machine they gave him more humane feelings towards the end, like this, and gets close with John Connor, the boy, and also the way it was made. Come on, they discovered new technology to make Terminator 2. So for these reasons, it's much better than Terminator, the original. And that's why it's one of my favorite movies, which, it's the father of technologies that came after that.
Can we say that this humanization of the robots, we can find it and in Wall-E and in the sequel of Terminator?
Of course, in Wall-E it's more focused, because we spoke like the two robots, they have feelings for each other, they become friends, and so on. And in the end, they both try to help the humans and to show them what to do. In Terminator 2, the robot tries to develop some emotions, from the middle of the movie and towards the end. But this was already input to him, because they had already prepared him to be like this, like he was predestined to do that in a way,
yes.
So that's why.
And Wall-E was just left in the lonely planet full of garbage.
Yes, and Wall-E achieved it himself.
Yes.
Like it's more obvious there.
So can we say that what makes us humans is what we achieve, not what we have in the software?
Of course, it's what we achieved and how our ability to adapt and our ability to feel and to feel all this emotion. Like this is what happens in Terminator. A very good question. What happened in Terminator 2 and in Wall-E, is that the robot gets humanized in a way towards the end, and in both movies. So in order to be human, I understand this. In order to be human, you need to have emotions, empathy, and love and friendship and all these things.
Yes. But, unfortunately, our world is not one of the great emotions nowadays. Let's speak about Battle Royale and Night of the Living Dead. I believe two movies with social messages,
Okay.
but social messages that are not seen on the first sight. What do you think about this?
You mean social messages that you have to watch a movie more than once?
Yes.
Of course, it happens like this with all great movies. The more you watch them, the more things you see. Okay, so for Battle Royale, what happens? It's an dystopian world where high school students, are used in order to entertain in a way. How they're used, they put together in some environment, and in order to survive, they have to kill each other, which sounds paradox, but yeah, in order to survive, they have to kill each other. What happens in the movie is, beside the message, the dystopian message that the government is using them, to for entertainment, and because they're evil, like, it shows you one aspect, it shows you one thing, which is how far can the human sadism and masochism can go, like how evil can we become. And Battle Royale stops there, to the exploitation of teenagers, exploitation like death in a macabre way, in order for entertainment. Like, there is no actual reason to do that, except that, the students are going wild and the school's full and so on. There is no...
Yeah, that's a stupid reason.
Yes, there is no actual reason to do this. It's the human evilness that does this.
And also the human evilness looking for entertainment, which
Exactly. And we'll reach to these levels in order to have entertainment. And of course, the idea was copied in Hunger Games,
one of the best franchises for the previous decade.
And why it is a nice franchise and why many people watch it? Because the idea is interesting,
Yes.
Yeah.
But in Hunger Games, they provided more context. Why they do these games.
Yes, they provided a context, while in Battle, the context was that everybody had to give two people
from every state.
From every state, and to fight for the state,
Why?
Yeah, but in Battle, but at least that's a more detailed explanation,
Yes.
Of, more acceptable.
Not just violence at schools.
Japanese are crazy.
No, they aesthetize violence.
Exactly.
Which is something that Europeans and American cinema also does, but in a different way.
Yeah, in a different way. I mean, okay, now we are comparing Hunger Games with Battle Royale, okay? But in Battle Royale, it's about violence. What you see is what you get. Okay, not only because in order for them to survive, they figure out, that they have to work in teams. Even they take advantage of each other, like they are in teams before that, and then when they are left only 2 or 3, they start killing each other. But they realize how teamwork works and how, working together with others, helps. Hunger Games, on the other side, it goes a notch further. Like they develop, relationships, they feel empathy, like when the
they
little
sacrifice for each other.
Yeah, they sacrifice for each other, like when the little girl dies, and all this. And there is a better character arc in the movie. Like in the beginning, she fights to survive, then she starts to fight, to beat the system, So, Battle Royale, it's violence,
Period.
Yes.
Yes. Do you like movies about zombies?
Yes, although recently we didn't have many good movies about zombies. You mentioned Night of the Living Dead.
Yes.
Yes, it's a crazy movie to watch for what it achieved. Also, there are social messages, like in Battle Royale. It's about the Vietnam War, that we have to unite against the zombies, against the bad guys,
Actually, against the oppressing class.
against the oppressive class, the bad
Yeah.
guys, the oppressive class. So yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, it's a depiction of American society in the 60s.
The depiction of American society in the 60s, which was a very interesting and very active decade for them. And yeah, but in general, horror movies, because it is a horror movie as well, horror movies, they always have this kind of messages, for society, for what's going on, and they go with the trend, so.
The enemy, the one that we should be scared of, is actually someone quite normal and someone just next to us.
Yes, exactly.
Very important message.
Exactly.
Okay, what is, in general, we spoke about many movies. What is your favorite, your 3 favorite dystopian movies that you can recommend to our audience to watch or rewatch?
There are many, but okay, I think the audience might have seen some of them. One of them, which is easy to watch, and easy to follow, and also it's fun, and many people like it. It's Idiocracy. Have you watched this movie, Idiocracy? It's about a guy who is put in a capsule,
Yes.
as a part of an experiment, and goes like 100 years in the future or whatever. And the future, they are all stupid. And because he's a normal guy in the present,
Yes.
like he has a normal job. He's not, like a scientist or whatever. He's a normal guy. He goes to the future, and there he's like the smartest guy. And that's the topic of the movie, like what people, it's a comedy as well, but it's a very famous dystopian movie. Like one hint, they used energy drink to water the crops because energy drinks gives you strength and so on, and the crops will grow faster, and other things. Watch the movie,
Yes, I will, definitely.
Watch the movie and you will understand. But it's a dystopian comedy, let's say. Other movie which, I would suggest to watch, of course, Terminator 2. It's the war against the machine. Some adaptations from films that I like. I, Robot, it's from Isaac Asimov books, with the laws in robotics and so on. Isaac Asimov, by the way, great writer about dystopian world and how everything works. Like the guy who wrote all those things, like it would actually happen. He really believed that this is the future. And many of the things already happening, like all with artificial intelligence. And this is where the movie I, Robot focuses. Other movies which I could suggest, Elysium, where the rich people, and we get this a lot in dystopian movies, the high class, the rich people. In this movie...
From Metropolis it starts.
Yeah, from Metropolis it starts, exactly, but we have countless movies discussing this topic, and books, and art, and whatever. So in this movie, the rich people live in a man-made artificial halo away from Earth, because Earth has no resources, the resources are ending and it's getting destroyed and it's dirty, and all the poor people live on Earth, and the topic of the movie is that the poor people somehow they try to go there. How? Watch the movie.
And as conclusion, do we live in the world of Orwell or in the world of Huxley? And why?
I would say that the world is closer on an Orwellian novel, you know, not only 1984, but also Animal Farm, you know. This is because society developed in that way, I suppose, politics developed in that way, and technology, of course, helped, you know. It's really simple, the reason why I believe this, because we somehow can identify with many things from the things that are described in these two books, you know, Animal Farm and 1984. So for this reason, yeah, I would answer definitely, you know, an Orwellian world, but with many elements from Huxley also.
The pleasure,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
entertainment.
Yes, but to end it, we are much closer in an Orwellian, you know,
All right,
dystopia.
I have a third suggestion, Kafka. Orwell, Huxley or Kafka?
This is too macabre, Kafka, you know, like, this is too macabre, Kafka, and psychologically, many psychological aspects of, you know, our world, like, you know, how we feel inside, you know, how, you know, Kafka had a lot of metaphors for these things, you know, like metamorphosis, you know, like how you feel versus how you are actually. So yes, but the Kafka is more individual, you know, more individually thinking. If we are going to take it rough as it is, I have to insist. It's an Orwellian dystopia. It's not, it's close to that. You know.
But we go this way, or there is a way back?
We go which way?
Into the dystopian future, into the darkness, or there is a way back? And what is the recipe in the way you see it and the way artistic vision sees it?
Listen, there are always going to be problems. There are always going to be challenges for humanity. Eventually, humanity will be wiped out either from natural causes or we will wipe out ourselves, you know. So it depends what we see. I mean, there will always be problems. So if we take this as, you know, a rule, then yeah, we are living in a dystopia. We have always lived in a dystopia, you know, because we have always had viruses, you know, like malaria, like COVID. We had always have wars. We always had, you know,
fears for the future.
Fears for the future. So it's these fears that you say that drives us to believe that everything will be wiped out. Nothing will work in the end, you know. And it's inevitable. I mean, I tell you, scientifically speaking, at some point, humanity will be wiped out, you know. But on the other hand, you know, because I want to be diplomatic, on the other hand, if we watch and we take the example of WALL-E, we can live in this dystopia and make the best out of it.
We can grow the little seed of
we
hope.
can grow the little seed of hope and be, you know, like a cliche, be kinder to each other, let's say, you know, or be better and fight for a better future for ourselves, you know. And all
Very
this
well
social division that there is, that yeah, the rich against the poor and stuff. No, even the rich have
interest of preserving society and preserving
exactly, because even
the planet.
They are in this dystopia. Like, I mean, come on, viruses, sicknesses like cancer, and you know all these things. So, yeah, we live in a dystopia, but we can make a good life for ourselves.
And actually, exploring these fears gives the vision for the future.
These fears are the reason why humanity is progressing technologically.
Yes, because they're defining the problems and seeking for the solutions.
Yes, like, okay, if you go back in time and tell to someone in the 17th century, you know, like show them what we have today and how we live, they would tell you, this is not a dystopia. This is, you know, a perfect utopia.
The best world.
They have boxes with wheels that, they drive fast, not horses and so on. If you show to us something in the future like flying cars or, cure for cancer is out there and you just do a vaccine and all this, we will say, this is a utopia, but there will always be problems. And if you let this problem define society, then yes, you are living in a dystopia. If these problems are a cause to move forward, and to find a cure for cancer, build flying cars and so on, then this is called progress, but not dystopia.
Very well said. Thank you, Soti. That was our second edition of Cinecult podcast. You can find all the links for our 2 editions in the description box. Also, I kindly invite you to follow and to comment on our social channels and to expect further discussions.
And also read articles from our previous issue. Matrix is there, Kubrick movies they will find. Also this issue, much more than what we talked here, much more articles, much more detailed information. And yes, you can comment, you can download it, you can read it, spread the word.
For free in Bulgarian and English.
Spread the word, give it to more people, of course.
And speak about contemporary cinema, watch movies and love
cinema.
art.
And art.
Thank you.
Thank you.